As you guys make your way back to your seats, grab somebody important to you and just let them know you're not perfect. Let them know you're working on it. And today's the fresh start. Today's the day we're going to start working on ourselves. For those of you that don't know, my name's Jared, and you guys have to settle for me today. Pastor had other business, and he called and asked if I had something ready to go, and I had a couple things that I was working on, and all signs this morning are pointing to this message. I'm going to try to contain myself. I'm going to let you into my life a little bit. Things that I've dealt with through my life. And I'm going to start this service by making a fool of myself. So, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a second for yourself and make a change. You have my mother to thank for that. I was a young boy. She introduced me to Michael Jackson. God rest her soul. Tomorrow's 20 years for her passing, so I'm sure she is covering her face right now, not knowing what to say about that. So this is a mirror message. This is a reflection message. This is us standing in front of a mirror every morning before we get ready for work, before we get ready to go to school, before we get ready to train as an athlete, before we get ready to start, before we go to our businesses and start having to deal with people, because we all know people can be hard at times. We're raising businesses, we're training our bodies, we're leading teams, we're building marriages, and yet many of us are asking God to fix results, rather refusing to confront the roots of those problems. A lot of you know, some of you might not know, I used to be in the military, and as competitive as I am, I wanted to be the best at everything. So anytime I got the opportunity to go to an extra training for a promotion or go to another class, I jumped on it. And one of the classes that I went to was a leadership class. This leadership class was very humbling to me, and in the sense of you had to go there and you had to learn how to lead people. And it's a very hard thing because if you look around the room, everybody's different. So leading this person is going to look different than leading that person. You can motivate this person differently than you can motivate that person. And one of the most humbling experiences is when we got there, after the first 2 weeks of being there, they sat us down in front of our peers in a chair, just like I'm sitting in front of all of you. And one by one, after the first 2 weeks is how fast this happens. One by one, they go around the room and they tell you what you can improve on. They tell you where you're flawed. And it's not like here, right? As people in this congregation, as people in this world, what happens when you have somebody tell you, this is what's wrong with you? What do? We dodge it, right? But that's not me. I don't have that problem. You have to sit there and you have to take that criticism. You have to take that structural criticism about yourself, and you have to deal with that in front of your peers. No rebuttal, no nothing, because it's only 2 weeks. And by the fourth person, the sixth person, you see a pattern. And then you start thinking, maybe it is me. I think this is what's wrong with all of you. But everybody here has known me for 2 weeks. And they're all pointing out the same thing that I couldn't see. And so we have to take a reflection. We have to be able to stand in front of the mirror sometimes and really dig into not just the pimple that's forming on our face because we've had too much chocolate, right? We have to examine ourselves. We have to examine our heart, examine our soul. What is really holding me back? What is my biggest problem that won't let me elevate to the point where people can see Jesus in my life? David did not pray, "Fix them, Lord." He prayed, "Search me. Search me." So my first point, a man who won't examine himself will eventually embarrass himself. 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, "Examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves, or do you not realize this about yourself, that Jesus Christ is in you, unless indeed you fail to meet the test." So as a business owner, businesses can collapse because leaders ignore character cracks. And it's not just characters in other people. You know, we have to, as a business, we're in our 13th year of business now. And it's a little sad, but I'm a little fortunate in the business because in those 13 years, I've had 2 people that it got to a point where I said, "I don't want your business anymore." We are no longer lining up with what I consider to be good morals, good qualities, good characters. So from this day, I don't want you coming back. As hard as it is to save money, because look, when we first started 13 years ago, I did everything. I wanted to do everything. I didn't want anybody in this room going anywhere else for anything that I could provide. And it wasn't just this room. Canton, Troy, Wellsboro, Towanda. I wanted it all. I wouldn't say no. Yes was the best thing that would come out of my mouth. And it would be hurtful if you went someplace else. We would get done with work at 5 o'clock. So from 6 to 5, I'd be at the shop and we'd be working. We'd get done at 5 o'clock and I'd be off to Addison, New York to wrap race cars until 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Come back, go to bed. Get up, do it again. Now, there's pros and cons, right? Everybody loves money and we were making money. But my marriage, my relationship with my kids, my friends, something has to struggle. Something has to fall if you give all of your attention to the business, right? Something else has to lack. And it took a while for me to see that flaw in myself. I thought I was doing good. We had people working for us. You know, we have to keep food on their table. We have to keep food on our table. I want that new truck. I want those new clothes. I want this and I want that. So I need money to be able to do that. So it was work. And it took a while. I don't know when I stopped. Probably when my chain got yanked back a little bit because of my best friend. So we have to realize that if we give too much attention to certain things, other things have to fall because you don't have 100% of your time for 100% of everything. You have to pick and choose where we give that attention to. The same goes for marriages. Marriages drift because men stop asking hard questions about themselves. And when I say men, I mean men and women, because women are probably 99% perfect, I would assume. And men are the biggest problem. If I'm looking at my marriage, I would say that I was probably 99% of the problem. So we have to recognize when I say man or men, I'm talking to both parties here. Marriages drift because we stop asking the hard questions about ourselves. That military training that I went through, the older I got and the more mature I got, made me realize that, I chose my best friend. I chose the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and hopefully the life after, if Jesus lets me in, right? So we have to communicate. I am with her 99% of the time. We wake up together, we go to bed together, we work together. She's the structural integrity of the business, right? So she tells me what to do at home, she tells me what to do at business. Like everywhere we go, I'm being told what to do. Not in a negative way, right? Because she's 99% perfect. But in a way that allows me to understand what's going on in her mind. How many mind readers we got in the building? We got one mind reader, and I love him. So how could I possibly know that I did something to piss her off? How could I know that? Unless she tells me. We all know that men have no brain, a little brain, right? So I do things to her, around her, that really upset her, and I have no idea that I did. Unless she verbally tells me, hey, not sure if I've ever told you this, but like you left your socks again on the floor for maybe the 3,000th time. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'll pick that up. Right? She has to tell me these things. I have to tell her, hey, I don't like when, you clean the house, so I think I try to make up things that, like, she can improve upon. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we have to sit down with each other. We have to have these hard talks, these hard questions, right? Because nobody can read a mind. So if we're not commuting this, the tension is just going to keep building and building and building until one day I do something completely stupid and she lets me know about it, right? And then I'm awestruck, like, oh, I didn't realize that I was doing that every single day. So we have to be communicable with each other. And God is not exposing you to shame you. If any of this sounds familiar to me, you're probably a guy. So I'm probably hitting some of your guys' hearts right now. So God is not exposing us to shame us. He's exposing us to save us, right? He wants us to be together. We chose our life partner. I tricked her into choosing me, but she still chose me, and she can't take it back. But we chose each other forever. We have to stay together. So we have to communicate what our pros, cons, likes, dislikes, everything about our relationship. And I have to say sometimes, don't worry about those kids. Those kids take care of themselves. We got to get right. If we're not right, those kids darn sure aren't going to be right. We have to get this right first. So, point 2. This is my second point. I hope I'm doing good on time. Just yell at me if I'm not. Discipline builds what talent can't sustain. James 1:22 through 25 commands believers to be doers of the word and not hearers only, warning that merely listening to Scripture without acting on it is self-deception. Athletes. I talk a lot about athletes, I talk a lot about business, and I talk a lot about marriages. Because those are the 3 things in my life where the majority of my attention goes. So, as a business owner, vision starts the company, but structure sustains it. I touched on this earlier. Myself and my brother-in-law, we have all these crazy, mind-boggling ideas sometimes. And the structural integrity of our business is 100% right here. This is what holds everybody together. There's no denying it. Everybody that walks in that door knows who the boss is. But the boss has a very big heart, and she's very kind to the people she has to deal with every day, because we have these brain buster ideas sometimes that we need to buy a new piece of equipment, or we have to invest in this, that, or the other thing to help our business grow and to sustain our business. And she's so kind that sometimes she knows that I'm going to give him 24 hours. This guy's going to come back with something different. He's not even going to remember about that other piece of equipment that he wants to buy. I'm just going to let him go with this idea. I know it's going to end. So as a business owner, we have to have a structural foundation with our morals, our integrity, knowing what we can and cannot do. And my business structure is my best friend. So as a business owner, we have to recognize what your structure is going to look like. Athletes understand this. Talent gets you noticed, but discipline keeps you on the field. We see it in the pros a lot. We're starting to see it in college now with the whole NIL money thing. Even in high school, you're starting to be recruited by colleges, and there's so many talented kids out there. And they're gifted. They have what it takes to be a star in their respective sport. What happens is their talent makes them shine as an individual. But they don't always like to put in the work to sustain that talent. They don't always like to go to practice every day. They don't want to do that extra rep. They don't want to do that extra sprint. They don't want to put down the bag of Doritos and the Skittles to start eating healthy chicken breasts, right? They think that body's going to last. They think not taking care of themselves is going to sustain their talent. And the truth is, if those athletes don't take care of themselves, if they don't look themselves in the mirror every morning and say, what can I do today to get better? The kids that might not have that talent are going to slowly start catching them. And then soon they're going to pass them by. Because the kids that don't have all that talent, for the most part, always have that hard work, always have that hard drive. And they'll catch those talented kids, and then they'll blow by them like they're just standing still. So if you have that talent, athletes, you have to put in that hard work also, or else you're going to be the one that doesn't look talented. You don't fall suddenly. You drift daily. What you tolerate privately will eventually show publicly. So last year, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Last year, I started to look in the mirror, and I was a little disgusted knowing what I let myself slip to. I put on some weight, some unwanted weight, because your boy loves chocolate, loves Cool Ranch Doritos. I love subs. Look, if you go to Jersey Mike's and order 13 Mike's Way, that's it. That's the ticket. That's the best sub in the world, right? But I got carried away, and I started to have tighter clothes without buying smaller sizes. And I had to look at myself in the mirror in disgust and say, what are we going to do? And I went on the carnivore diet. For those of you that don't know, I have psoriasis, and I have really bad acid reflux. And I went on the carnivore diet for a couple months, and I noticed that I was sleeping better. I noticed that my psoriasis was clearing up. I noticed that my acid reflux, I didn't have to chew Tums like they were Skittles. I started to feel real good about myself. And it wasn't long after feeling good about myself that I started to give myself treats, because I was being a good boy, and good boys get treats, and that's how we feed ourselves. And the more treats the good boy got, the more he started to see himself falling under that wayside again. And fast forward to December, the two lovely ladies in my life, we decided that we're going to do this carnivore diet again. So as of January 1, I've been doing the carnivore diet again, and it's a little bit easier going this time, right? And I'm a meat eater, so like I love that part. And it was probably last week maybe. The good boy was being a good boy. So the good boy was thinking about treats again. And I don't know if I was coming out of the shower, if I was changing, or I was doing something. And, you know, my best friend, she's like, oh, you're starting to look good. And I'm like, maybe good boy doesn't need a good treat right now. Maybe good boy's going to go for another month. You know, so my best friend giving me that little wink, that little, you know what I'm saying, is helping to motivate me again to stay strong this time. So being that it's February 1st, being that, you know, if we set New Year's resolutions, hopefully a lot of people set some New Year's resolutions, whether it be putting down the bottle, putting down cigarettes, vaping, eating chocolates, candy. We all have New Year's resolutions, and if you haven't failed yet at your New Year's resolution, today's February 1, so this is me putting it back in your face. Get in front of a mirror, tell yourself what you told yourself a month ago, and get back on track with yourself. My third point, how are we doing? Good? My third point, transformation requires sacrifice, not excuses. Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. God is not asking for convenience. He's asking for surrender. A living sacrifice means saying no to certain deals. I realized that I didn't need to deal with everybody in Bradford County, in Tioga and Sullivan and all these other counties. I realized that I would rather good people to be in partnership with in business than everybody. Sometimes we have to cut people out of our lives. Sometimes we have to cut family members out of our lives. This is unorthodox, but I think we all know me, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this.
Hello.
Bro, what up?
What up?
Hey, I'm standing here in front of, I don't know, a couple hundred people. And so something happened last night, and I need to hide a body.
Okay. Where you want me to meet you? Whose car are we going to take?
I'm going to get back to you on that. So I'm going to let you go for now, and I'm going to make sure that Justin and Blake aren't in here hearing anything.
All right. Just let me know when.
All right, I'll call you.
All right.
Later. Justin, that was false. That was a lie. Nothing happened with anybody's. Okay. So those of you that don't know, that's my oldest brother. Best friend, one of my best friends, not my best friend, right? Come on, girl. Right? So he's my family best friend. I can call him anytime, anywhere, and he's going to drop whatever he's doing, and he's going to come to me. He's going to rescue me. He's going to help me. He's going to do what I need to do, no matter what that is. Sounds good, right? Everybody needs one of those. What none of you heard in that conversation was the 6 years that we did not talk to each other. What you didn't hear is two brothers that come from an alcoholic family that whenever they got together would drink and would fight and would, create tension amongst each other. What you didn't hear there was two brothers that lost both of their parents at a younger age and had to prove to the other brother how much more that parent meant to them than to you. What you didn't hear was two brothers that split their families apart and cousins couldn't see each other because he was wrong and I was wrong. There was a lot of love lost there that needed to happen. As hard as it was, as painful as it was, we had to separate. We couldn't see each other. It was toxic. We had to take our own brother out of our lives to look at the man in the mirror and decide what we needed to change, how we needed to change for our families, for each other, for the future of our last name. I am proud to say last January 11th was 5 years clean and sober. So through a lot of hard work, through a lot of deep soul searching, deep soul correcting, mending hearts, we have a bond again like we did when we were in high school. And that bond, now granted, we weren't the best kids in high school, but we have righted that ship, and now we are just two brothers that would do anything for each other, whenever, however, whatever. But it took that separation, and it's hard. And you may have somebody in your life that you need to separate from for a short period of time, whether it be a friend, whether it be a brother, a sister, your parents, right? If you're married to your best friend, the person that you chose to be with forever, you have got to put your parents someplace else. Your parents cannot be the boss, be the foundation of your marriage. Your marriage consists of you and your bestie. We have to separate those people in order to work on this so we can work on everybody else in our life. Integrity may cost money, but compromise will cost you everything. Humility is more powerful than being right. This goes back to me and my bestie. And there's so many times in our past where this guy was going to be right. I don't care what we were fighting about. I wanted that last word. I wanted her to know it's my way. This is the right way. And she's like, well, okay, go ahead and stand in front of the car. It's not going to end well. And I'm like, no, it will. Right? And she's very forgiving. She's very graceful. She has a tremendous heart. And she helps guide me like I'm a kindergartner sometimes because your boy's dense, right? And so I don't pick up on everything. But when you're arguing, you have got to know when you don't need to be right. I don't need to be right about everything, right? I've been trying to convince everybody in my life that the New York Giants are a good football team. Come on, right? Zeke knows. I almost got him. But I know that's a hill that I just can't die on because, they prove me every year that they're not a good football team. So in a marriage, in a friendship, we have to know what is good to fight about and what's not. It's not good to fight. I'm not saying it's good to fight. But what we argue over, do I necessarily have to win this argument? If I win this argument, do I have to sleep on the couch? Because if so, I don't care to win that argument, right? I don't want to be in the doghouse, so I'm going to let her win that fight. I think I'm moving on. Point 4, and I'll be wrapping up here. So, the man who refuses to die to self will never fully come alive in God. Strong men build strong homes. As we go about our days, as we go about our sporting events, as we go about our marriages, our friendships, we have to start looking at ourselves in a different light. You know, we can put makeup on, we can wear fancy clothes. When you stand in front of that mirror, you have to start searching deeper. You have to start getting to the bottom of what's wrong. Not with you, not with her, not with him, but how can we improve the man in the mirror? If we're always throwing stones, if we're always throwing spears at other people, and we're judging people, and we're saying, you know, you could fix your marriage if you do X, Y, Z. You could fix your friendship if we do X, Y, Z. And we're sitting here in a bad marriage, in a bad friendship. We're making ourselves look like fools. We have to examine our hearts, examine our minds. We have to put in the work that it's going to take to change yourself. We all want revival. We talk about it a lot. We talk about when the next revival is going to be. We talk about we want the revival to start in church. We want the revival to start right here at the altar. The revival has to start in a mirror first. You have to revive yourself. You have to do the work to change what's in the mirror, to change that person looking back at you before any other revival can happen. We have to all worry about ourselves. Church, it's a moment of honest reflection. This is not condemnation. It's not comparison. It's just consecration. We have Encounter coming up, a little over a month away. If you're willing to change for yourself, if you're willing to change for your wife, for your husband, for your sons and your daughters, for your family, if you're willing to make some hard choices in life, some hard sacrifices that require you to put down certain things that are affecting your life, anything from chocolate to alcohol to porn to cigarettes to gossip to lying. There's so many things that hold us back from being the people that we are meant to be in Jesus Christ. And if you want to make a transformation, if you want to start that resurrection of your soul, I invite you to come to the altar. We'll have altar people up here to pray for you. This is the first step. The first step is checking yourself. We can help you with the rest of the steps. I encourage you to start to change, to start seeking deep inside yourself what you need to fix so we can fix the church, so we can fix this county, so we can fix the United States, so we can fix the world.